Tanya Cabala with the Muskegon Channel, and today we're in Whitehall at a beautiful park, and I have Aaron Parker here, and he is the son of a local Montague guy, and very cool because Aaron works for what used to be the DEQ, which is now EGLE, the Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy, and he's an aquatic biologist, and he's going to be talking a little bit about harmful algae. It's been in the news, and probably a little bit of education wouldn't hurt, right, Aaron?
Correct.
So tell us first what you do as an aquatic biologist.
Oh boy, so I wear a lot of hats in my job. A couple weeks ago I was in the Upper Peninsula in Ontonagon, Menominee, and Manistee doing some river surveys, and then a couple weeks later I was down in a retention pond in Novi digging out invasive crayfish. From there, also do some lake and stream work, looking at macroinvertebrates and fish in local streams and lakes. One of my main jobs, though, at the Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy, though, is responding to concerned citizen inquiries about cyanobacteria, or what's also known as HABs, which is an acronym for harmful algal blooms. Harmful algal blooms are basically an accumulation of cyanobacteria, which aren't actually algae, but are, as their name implies, are bacteria. They are capable of producing or photosynthesizing, and so they're considered to be part of the algal community. The concern about cyanobacterial blooms is they're not very aesthetically pleasing. They can give off a foul odor, especially when they start to senesce and decay. But more importantly, though, they are capable of producing toxins, which can be harmful to both humans, but also dogs as well. Humans will mostly avoid them, but dogs have a tendency to go in water, and they may consume some of this cyanobacteria. Even if they don't consume the cyanobacteria directly, one of the concerns is if they go swimming in it, they may get it on their fur, and then when they lick it off of their fur, they may consume it that way.
So it's not as much contact if you get it on your skin or something. That's probably not good, but you're not going to die, right?
Yeah, so you shouldn't, it shouldn't be too harmful if you get it on your skin. There are some people, particularly infant, elderly, or people with compromised immune systems that may have some dermal reactions.
Okay.
There have been reports of people getting rashes after coming in contact with it. Other people are able to touch it and not get any reactions. Our best advice, though, is out of an abundance of caution. Just avoid it.
Absolutely not. Yep. And I'm just suggesting that just to make sure people are aware that probably the main problem is ingesting or drinking.
Yep. Ingesting directly is going to be your most direct route to exposure for sure. Which then again, the chances of a human directly ingesting a bunch of the cyanobacterial toxins such as microcystin, cylindrospermopsin, antitoxin, not very likely. Dogs, however, are definitely our biggest concern because dogs may directly consume cyanobacteria laden water.
Well, I know, so if people are on a lake and they are concerned that they might be seeing this type of this harmful algae, what would they need to look out for?
So basically the cyanobacterial blooms appear like a sheen of green paint on the water surface. Other types of algae are going to be your filamentous green algae, which is long and stringy and you could pick it up. Or you might have small plants called duckweed. But what you really want to be concerned about is anytime you see a sheen of really bright green, almost neon iridescent green, material that looks like paint that's been spilled on the water surface, that there's a good possibility of that it might be cyanobacteria. if you're not sure, there's a cliche that's been going around amongst the water resources departments that goes, when in doubt, stay out. And that is the advice that we've been pushing for years now. If you have any question or you have any concern about the water, then it is best just to stay out of the water. Anyone who is concerned can certainly take a picture, call us at Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy. We have an email inbox that we check. It's algaebloom@michigan.gov. So that's algaebloom@michigan.gov, and anybody can send an email to that, and we can look at a picture, and pretty much we can tell whether it's cyanobacteria or one of the non-harmful algae, or even if it's just plants that somebody's seeing. If it looks like something that's concerning, then we'll tell somebody to avoid the water, and then we can either send somebody from a local district office out, or somebody from the Lansing office can go out there themselves.
Well, and I know we talked about there's actually a test. So you will come and take a sample, and then you'll test it to see if it is toxic. So if it's not toxic, is it okay to then get into that water with the algae?
We still would recommend. So the cyanobacteria, they're interesting because they have a capability either to actively produce toxins, or they may not be actively producing toxins, and nobody's quite sure why, what would trigger them one way or another to produce toxins or not to produce toxins. We recommend, out of an overabundance of caution, just to avoid the cyanobacteria. Even if we come back and say that there were no toxins found in it, that's not to say that the next day they might begin producing toxins. So our recommendation is stay out of it until it dissipates. I guess the good news about the cyanobacterial blooms that we see is they do tend to just occur in one area of a lake. Because they're right at the water surface, a lot of times wind will just blow them towards one shoreline or another, and oftentimes it'll just concentrate in one spot. And what we've been doing for the last several years is sometimes when there is a very concentrated bloom somewhere, we'll grab a sample right in the scum itself, and then we'll sample some clear water right nearby, and the clear water nearby is almost always a non-detection for the toxins, and most of those toxins are going to be right in that concentrated area.
Okay. And why are we having these problems with harmful algae? I mean, is it a combination of things?
Yep, it is. So typically where you see them is you'll find them in shallow, calm, warm water. You will find them in water bodies with a lot of nutrients. That was the typical paradigm for many years, was that you would only see them in high nutrient water bodies. However, last few decades, the zebra and quagga mussels have turned that on its head. So once the zebra and quagga mussels started invading our local inland lakes, unfortunately what they do is they will consume your non-toxic algae like diatoms and green algae. However, they will not always consume the cyanobacteria, and so sometimes what can happen then is they'll consume all of the diatoms and the green algae in a lake community, but they'll leave a disproportionate amount of cyanobacteria. And so in some cases, we're even seeing in low and medium nutrient lakes, we're starting to see cyanobacteria blooms there as well. So very low phosphorus levels, but they're seeing cyanobacteria blooms, and it's most likely a result of zebra mussel invasions.
What about Lake Michigan?
Lake Michigan, I would be very surprised to see any. It's not to say it's not possible. If there were maybe some calm, warm shallow areas where they may be in. Lake Michigan, though, for the most part, is going to be very cool, not ideal temperature for cyanobacteria, and it's also going to be very rough as well. So it would have to be a very unique circumstance for it to be seen in Lake Michigan, but that's not to say it could never happen. I believe last year in Lake Superior around Duluth, some scientists saw some cyanobacteria there.
Okay. Well, and I probably should have asked you this question to start, but did your dad, Dan Parker, Montague native, but yeah, did he have anything to do with your getting interested in the
With my
environment?
career choice? Oh yeah. So I was helping him out with adopt a stream projects at a young age, and I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do when I was in college, and I think I was watching a TV show once on PBS, and there was a gentleman on there, and he said, "Hi, my name is such and such, and I'm a fisheries biologist, and this is what I do." And I thought, wow, that sounds absolutely fascinating, that this guy is getting paid to catch fish in a net. And so I pursued that as an undergrad at Grand Valley, and got another degree at Grand Valley, and started doing internships, and had to move around a couple places in the country, Florida and then Illinois, and now I'm back here in Michigan.
Oh, excellent. Well, I know we all appreciate what you do at the EGLE, the Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy, and we'll make sure that there are links for people to find out more about harmful algae. Just want to thank you and just say, signing off, Tanya Cabala with the Muskegon Channel.